August 27th, 2012, Monday. First team couldn't wait for Miss Waldron to leave the room. They had been planning all weekend, hungry for their match today. As soon as she left the room, Darkspeed jumped to the stage for a chance to go over the plans again. The other team members didn't blink. All their attention was on the stage and the task at hand. The first two matches, Darkspeed made plans according to what he thought would work. The rest of the team did what they were told and followed orders. This time, the whole team was involved and emotionally invested. No one went home the previous Sunday. They were all making preparations for today. They all believed their participation meant something, their time mattered. Minutes before they had to leave for the pit to get harnessed, Midas, Virtuoso, and Bioforce changed into their newly designed uniforms. Nothing was left to chance, and everything was double-checked. Midas was now wearing heavy armor with a solid removable helmet. She had adapted some of Knight's work to make new armor for her teammate. The goal was to make something that would increase Midas' durability on the field. Virtuoso's armor was somewhere between Midas and her old uniform, the main improvement being a chameleon quality to the surface of the outfit. Since she was never going to be doing hand-to-hand combat, the idea was to allow her to blend into the background and not be noticed. Making her invisible would have been the best, but she told them that would take time. Bioforce had a light backpack added to her uniform. She now carried a high-tech medical kit in the upper portion of the backpack. In the bottom, she carried two weapons designed by the lab rats. She and Virtuoso had adapted an armory design into a smaller package, and Midas helped them construct it in record time. She called them N-guns, since they were the nanotech upgrade of a K-gun. Each large handgun was capable of striking like artillery fire. The decision was made to keep Bioforce in reserve, and not let the healer get hurt. That didn't mean the healer was not to dish out damage when the horn blew. Bioforce kept the N-guns hidden as they walked to the pit. Connors watched the team as they approached for their match. He made note of how the team was now communicating as they entered the pit. Each team member was animated and involved. Darkspeed wasn't giving orders. He was moving with his team. Connors let a small grin escape as his hopes for his team mounted. The opposing team was taking its place on the other side of the pit. This was 6th team, Coach Spur's team. Darkspeed knew they must have a good plan of attack in mind and should not be taken lightly. 6th team started moving into position. Chain and Aztec took center field. Shockwave and Avian stood behind their rack, with Ghost and Zoner hiding behind them. "Party line on," Darkspeed said as he prepared for the pain in his head. "The line is on," Virtuoso thought to her team. Ghost and Zoner will be the wild cards. They're already trying not to be seen, Darkspeed thought. Avian and Shockwave are up to something. We can't break the rack. So, they're standing right behind it. If we don't bench them fast, they have a chance for sound and wind attacks, she thought. Changing plans then. Jilly, don't use mind control on Aztec. Teleport Midas up behind them on the pit cubes for a clean shot. Can you do that? Darkspeed thought. Easy, Virtuoso thought back. Done, Midas thought back. Spurs is about to start the countdown. Take position 1, Virtuoso thought. Olympian and Darkspeed took center field, across from Chain and Aztec. The other 4 members of first team took guard positions around their rack. Everyone waited for Spurs to start the countdown. 10, Spurs said out loud. Virtuoso made an illusion for all but first team to see. First team looked like they were standing their ground in position 1. Instead, first team was busy. Midas used his power on the ground beneath them. Virtuoso stood next to him and placed a hand on his shoulder, waiting. 2 swords grew up and presented themselves to She. A mean-looking hand weapon grew up and presented itself to Olympian. He had asked for a club that was 4 feet long and heavy. Midas made a machete-looking club that was 4 inches thick on the blade and came to an angular edge. To reinforce the handle, Midas made a handguard that was thicker than the handle with spikes. From practice, everyone knew Olympian would break the weapon, but it would be good for a few hits. Darkspeed smiled as Midas made his weapons. 4 pyramid-shaped piles of super steel balls the size of baseballs grew up around him. He took the first one into his hand and waited to give them his best fastball. She turned invisible and took her place on the pit side wall. She hovered on the ground and used her power to pull on the ground in front of her. Quickly, she was accelerating around the back of the pit wall like a racing car. She had practiced this maneuver the day before. When Spurs blew the horn, she would cross the center line, invisible and at high speed. Bioforce held an N-gun in each hand. She proceeded to grow 2 white wings out from behind her small backpack. It took a little work to find the right fit. Now, her wings didn't rub the backpack when she flew. Several beats of her wings found her a few hundred feet above the pit. She was to be another angle of attack on the battlefield. 1. Go! Spurs said as he blew the horn.